So many restaurants right now are struggling with labor and shrinking margins and training their staff and getting great people and making more profit. And it pains me to see this when I coach different restaurants, all the different things that they can be doing that they're not doing. Well, so we're going to talk about labor solutions, maximizing profitability, cutting costs, building a dream team staff, and really optimizing your operation. You're not going to want to miss it.
People go to restaurants for lots of reasons. For fun, celebration, for family, for lifestyle. What the customer doesn't know is the thousands of details it takes to run a great restaurant. This is a high-risk, high-fail business. It's hard to find great staff. Costs are rising and profits are disappearing. It's a treacherous road and smart operators need a professional guide. I'm Roger. I've started many highly successful, high-profit restaurants that I've now sold for millions of dollars. I'm passionate about helping other owners and managers not just succeed, but knock it out of the park. I created a game-changing system, and it's filled with everything I've learned in over 20 years running super profitable, super fun restaurants. Everything from creating high-profit menu items and cost controls to staff training where your teams serve and sell, to marketing hooks, money maximizing tips, and efficiencies across your operation. What does this mean to you? More money to invest in your restaurant, to hire a management team, time freedom, and peace of mind. You don't just want to run a restaurant, you want to dominate your competition and create a lasting legacy. Join the Academy and I'll show you how it's done.
Running my restaurants taught me that the right tools move your business forward, so I'm a fan of Touch Bistro. It's more than just a POS, it's an all-in-one restaurant management system built by restaurateurs. Touch Bistro helps speed up service, reduce errors, and turn tables faster, while loyalty programs, online ordering, and contactless payments boost your bottom line. Plus, real-time analytics, inventory tracking, and staff scheduling are game changers. Want to learn more? Reach out to my friend Becky at BTARTICK@touchbistro.com or give her a call at 647-360-3994. She'll give you the full scoop and take great care of you. I've been thinking about the secret sauce of successful restaurants. I call it the magic dust. Since the pandemic, all the restaurants that have survived somehow, the margins are slimmer than ever. Labor costs are higher than ever. The challenges seem greater than ever. So I just started to think back on what made me super successful with multiple restaurants. Many of you may not know that just before the pandemic, I bought another restaurant and I went through those 2 years of challenge. I was able to pivot multiple times, and that word has now become a cliche. But I want to share today all the things that made my restaurants successful despite all these great challenges. I was in it for 23 years and started my first restaurant with virtually no restaurant experience. My secret sauce was business skills and systemizing a business that isn't traditionally run by MBAs. So I hope to share that with you today. This episode was the secret to restaurant success for me in 5 different concepts that I founded from scratch. I knew back then, as I know now, that people, your team, are the foundation of your business, but that's one of the greatest challenges. How do you create these amazing people that have accountability, set clear expectations, and train them to rise to new challenges? That was something that was really near and dear to my heart and really special. I knew that the people that worked for me were the foundation. I wanted my restaurants to be about teamwork and mutual respect. And we talked about that every day. We had daily pre-shifts, front of house, back of house. Sometimes we combined those two things and we had a real team. There was no animosity. Everybody pulled together for the greater good. And I wanted everyone to rally to new challenges. I wanted to encourage people to learn new skills and to rise up. And it was okay if some people were stellar in a job. If I had a fantastic dishwasher and he just wanted to be a dishwasher, or a fantastic line cook, or a host or a busser, that was okay. But I knew back then that people wanted to be inspired. They wanted to rise up. They didn't want to have to go find another job. They wanted to think that there was future opportunity. And several people, many people, rose up in my organization to lead, to become kitchen managers, to become dining room managers. And I don't even like the word manager. I've called them leaders ever since I started my first restaurant. You know, that term management is overused. Think of yourself as a true leader, and you know what that means. So it was about inspiring people to be more than they were and to give them room to make mistakes and to encourage them every single day and to then recognize and celebrate their achievements. That was super powerful. So it started with that word empowerment. To empower means you recognize talent in someone and you give them something additional beyond what they're doing now. And you coach them, inspire them to take on new challenges and to accomplish those things. And when they do, you give them an incentive for doing so. And then other people around them say, hey, I want to do something too. So you always have to keep your eyes open for where can someone go from this position to the next position, whether it's a promotion or just a temporary responsibility that they show that they've got their own leadership and they can take that challenge on. So it was about a career description. Everything starts with a career description. Now, we call them job descriptions in most industry, restaurants included. I always called them career descriptions because I didn't want my people to think of what they were doing as just a job. We called it a career description because we laid out a clear path. If you do this and do it well, then you can go here and then you can go here. If you take on those challenges, this is what's in it for you. So accountability was key. A career description clearly laid out a path forward for anyone in the organization. But the recognition and the rewards programs, we had something called difference dollars. We did it twice a week because our busiest days were Fridays and Saturdays in all our restaurants. We wanted everyone to take part in these programs. It was empowering and inspiring. Someone was recognized for making a difference, for going above and beyond the scope of the job, solving a guest problem, helping out a teammate, whatever it was. Anyone that worked for any of my restaurants could recognize someone or nominate them. We did this difference dollars every single week, twice a week. We also had team building incentives and contests to help people rise to challenges. And that was important too. It was about developing people's talents, giving them room to make mistakes, critiquing, never criticizing, and then incentivizing performance. I worked on my businesses, on my restaurants, so that I didn't have to work in them. I was never tied to my restaurants 24/7. It was all about having your people have your back and giving them the skills and the confidence that they could do new things. They could learn pieces of my business that would then develop the skills, make better guest experiences, improve the profitability. It just covered every aspect of the organization. So the first thing I started was something called Sales Stars. I created a training program because I knew that if I could give better hospitality and better service than any of the competing restaurants, I would capture all the business. And that's exactly what happened. Sales Stars was not just for servers and bartenders. It was for everyone who interacted with a guest. Hosts answer the phone, greet people at the door, and seat people at tables, and bussers clear tables and reset tables. For me, Sales Stars was about product and restaurant knowledge. Every single person that came in contact with a guest had to know the menus and the restaurant inside and out. I never wanted a guest to ask a question where the answer was, I don't know, let me go ask my manager. What a terrible impression that leaves. Everyone could answer questions. Everyone could make suggestions that enhanced the guest experience. And that's what Sales Stars was about. It was about the basics of hospitality, not which fork you use with the shrimp or the salad. It was about service and treating everyone like the most important customer in the place. It was like treating every first-time visitor as if they were a loyal friend that came in all the time. And everyone felt special, and that was really empowering. Everyone was trained not only to serve, but to suggest, to tell people what we knew they would enjoy and appreciate that would increase sales. And that doubled and tripled check averages year on year. But most importantly, the guests had a better experience. They started to talk about us. We developed a following. My people made friends with the guests. I always called them guests. And those guests would come in and ask for my people by name. And they had a following. And that's a really powerful thing. Everybody was an ambassador for my restaurants. Then it was about what I called wow factor. And it started with the food. I wanted every single plate that came out of the kitchen to have what I called wow factor, which meant whenever you put that plate in front of a guest, they'd look at it and they'd say, wow. Their phone would come out and they'd take a picture of it. And before they even cut into it or took a bite, they'd take a photo and post it to social media. And that was free marketing. And then I thought about it and like every single thing about their experience should be wow factor. It's not just about the food. It's about the vibe and the atmosphere. When they walk in, what are they going to feel? What are they going to experience? It was about the service. This business is entertainment. It's show business. And your people are not hosts and bussers and servers and bartenders and cooks and dishwashers. Everybody that interacts with a guest is an actor on stage. When the doors open for business, I told my team, the curtain goes up and it's showtime. and you're an actor, and you're here to dazzle our guests, give them great experiences, give them reasons to come back and share our story on social media. So that's wow factor. That created incredible loyalty. And that was all about repeat business and buzz in the marketplace. And again, the competition couldn't touch us. That was Sales Stars. But it was also about daily training. We had this program called Pre-Shifts to Profits, and every single day we had a pre-shift meeting. It was a 5 to 8 minute, really focused strategy session. It was about how do you read your tables? What are you going to tell them about that's really unique and special and different? We called those our hooks. What are you going to do that's going to really make their experience? Because people come out to restaurants not just because they didn't feel like cooking or they're hungry. They come out for an experience. And we wanted to over-deliver on experiences. So we had daily pre-shifts, every single shift, every single day. But then once a month or so, I wanted to reinforce all these sales techniques that I developed that really developed our team spirit, morale, and guest experiences. I created this thing called How to Turn $100 into $1,000. And it was a more structured, longer training session that happened once a month. It was mandatory. This one was 25 to 30 minutes, but it was all about role playing. And it was all about you're the guest and you're the host and you're the server, the bartender. And we would deliver these experiences. And I had $100 stacked on the table in different denominations. If you did a great job really bringing that guest experience to life and really telling them what makes us special, you could take a bill off the stack. And my team loved that. And that was a very simple exercise. It was about training. It was about short, focused strategy pre-shift sessions, and once a month, turning $100 into $1,000. So how did it turn into $1,000? All my people went out there and they delivered amazing experiences and they made suggestions throughout the meals. And people just said, yeah, that sounds great. Bring me this. And sales went up by at least $1,000 a day for the next couple of weeks. Check averages doubled and tripled. But more importantly, the guest experience and the loyalty and the buzz and the social media, that was what was powerful. And this did it for us. I was also obsessed with profit. Now, this is a low margin business. Before the pandemic, a restaurant was doing well if it could wring 10 to 12% profit on sales. The simple math there means that for every $1 of sales that comes in the door, you leave with 10 or 12 cents profit after all your expenses are paid. Wow, that's really hard to make money back then. And now, post-pandemic, there are a lot of restaurants on the 5% profit margin. There's a lot of restaurants that are on the verge of losing it all. And this really pains me. They don't know what the prime costs are in the restaurant. They're not following their key performance indicators or their KPIs. This is all simple stuff. Even if you hate math, you think you're terrible with numbers, these are really simple concepts. And I can teach you all these things. Like this industry is obsessed with a low food cost. And yes, that's important, but a low food cost comes from efficiency and low waste, theft, and spoilage, and having lots of what I call cash cows. That's what gives you a low food cost. But what's more important, I don't care about the food cost. I care about what profit does every single menu item deliver to the bottom line, regardless of the food cost. That's what I was focused on. And that was really important. The biggest needle mover right now is analyzing your menu for maximum profit. But it all starts with costing out every single menu. I'm sure you know what sells. I'm sure you know what flies out of the kitchen, what your people are ordering day in and day out. You know, your guests, what they love about your restaurant, right? The food. But do you know which items are the most profitable to sell? Have you costed out your menu recently? And if so, are you using the data? I've coached a number of restaurants and found out that they hadn't costed out their menu in quite some time. And if they did, they weren't using the data. So we costed out the menu. And then I ranked every single menu item in every category, your appetizers, your soup, salads, your entrees, your desserts, all these are categories. I ranked them from most profitable to least profitable. And then I went to the point of sale system and I printed out a report. I like lots of data. 12 months. If you change the menu once a year, you got 12 months of data. That's really important. If you change it twice a year, you got 6 months of data. I built a template. I called it the Menu Profit Accelerator. And I plugged all this data into these restaurants I consulted. And I showed all of them that in every category, lower profit items were stealing sales from what they wanted to sell. The more profitable items that they could be selling but weren't selling. They were filling their seats wondering, geez, why is my bank account not growing? Their menu wasn't profitable. And in some cases, it cost them more to serve the guests that dish than what they charged for it. Wow, what an eye opener. So, what's the bottom line? I did this for two independent restaurants. Their sales were just under $3 million, and each left a potential profit in the past year of $300,000 plus of what they could have made had they had a tighter menu with virtually not any losses. There's a spread. I call it the profit difference in every category. You want that spread to be within $1 or less of each other. And that way you don't care what sells, as long as you're moving the merchandise, you're cross-utilizing ingredients on all of your items, and you don't have a waste, a theft, or a spoilage problem, okay? The biggest one, my most recent client, 5-location pizzeria, left a potential profit last year across all 5 stores of $885,000 on the table. No restaurant can afford to lose a potential profit of $300,000, let alone a small chain of 800 plus thousand. Menu profit is the key. You can't control inflation. You can't control rising food costs that you pay your suppliers. You can't control the highest labor ever that we're paying, mostly in the kitchen, but you can control your menu profit. Super important stuff. I was also obsessed with marketing. This business is crazy. People come in the back door of our restaurants every day with no appointment, trying to sell us things we think we don't need. The salesmen are constantly there. The phone rings off the hook all the time. I'm a former restaurant owner, but when I owned restaurants, this happened to me. I know it's happening to you. And you're jaded, right? You can't take every call. You're in the middle of the soup. You're trying to put out great food. You're trying to deal with all the challenges of your restaurant, and someone's trying to sell you something over the phone. I know it's super challenging. But every once in a while, you got to be an opportunist. The most important thing is stop wasting money on marketing experiments. Spend your money on things that are trackable, where you know where the business is coming from. And you know that if you spend X, you're going to get a 2X, a 5X, a 10X, or even more return on that investment. That's powerful. Your restaurant team is the foundation of your business and most important asset. I know from experience that a happy team is a productive team that deliver great guest service experiences. Morale is the key. Check out myemployees.com/hospitality. My Employees offers impactful, consistent, and most of all, appreciated recognition programs that boost morale, reduce turnover, and drive guest satisfaction. My Employees is the industry benchmark, helping thousands of hospitality leaders build winning teams. Go to myemployees.com/hospitality. Lily's Fresh Pasta refuses to compromise on quality. This family-owned business, built on time-honored traditions passed down from Lily to her son Antonio, lives on with every batch. Lily's Fresh Pasta is made to European standards using 100% non-GMO, glyphosate-free Italian unbleached wheat. Lily's is served in the finest restaurants in America. I've had Lily's Fresh Pasta many times, and I can tell you it's always molto buono. Elevate your menu. Serve Lily's Fresh Pasta in your restaurant. Ask your local food service representative or call Antonio directly at 603-818-2100. And be sure to follow Lily's on Instagram at Lily's Fresh Pasta. I created multiple marketing systems that had incredible ROI. I had strategic alliances with other businesses within a 5-mile radius that sent me new business to my restaurants. You might say I created influencing before influencers were a thing. 25 years ago, people were sending me business that had no affiliation or connection to my restaurant, and they were incentivized to do, and I can teach you how to do that. One of the biggest things I did, we sold lots of draft beer. I had 18 different draft handles. But even if you've got a bar and you got 5 or 6 drafts, you can start a mug club. Lots of restaurants don't know what the kicker is and how powerful and profitable a mug club is. The membership, when you sell mug memberships, people pay you every year anywhere from $50 to $100 or more just to belong. There's value added there. A standard pint in any restaurant or bar is a 16-ounce glass where you pour the draft beer in it, and hopefully you pour a nice head on top. The mugs were beautiful ceramic 20-ounce mugs where every time someone bought a draft beer that belonged to the mug club, they got 4 extra ounces. The powerful thing was the mug club members felt this exclusivity, like everyone else in the bar is drinking a pint, but I got this mug, which makes me special, and then I'm going to invite my friends to join, and my friends are going to invite their friends to join. And so many years ago, we started a mug club, and we just started with 25 to see what would happen. We sold them out in a day and a half. I sold that flagship restaurant in 2014, And my bar leader, who was empowered to build the Mug Club and was incentivized to do, sold 1,200 mugs every single year that brought in like $60 each. That was like 60,000 plus in free and clear cash flow. Now, why did it cost me nothing? The mugs cost me nothing. The special Mug Club t-shirts cost me nothing because I got a sponsor to put their logo on the t-shirts and the mugs. It could be a radio station. It could be a supplier. It could be anyone that wants exposure to your audience, your customers. How powerful was that? Okay, so could you use an extra $5,000 a year, $10,000 a year, $60,000 or even more? If you charge $100 a Mug Club membership and you offer that value, if you build that business, that's a lot of money that you can do amazing things with. You can hire a leader, buy new equipment, improve your business. Suddenly, I realized so long ago when we built this Mug Club, people that used to come in maybe twice a month, 3 times a month, maybe, are now in my place 3 and 4 times a week because they belong to the Mug Club. It's their clubhouse. This is our special place. All our friends are here. And it just grew and grew. And what a marketing buzz that was. It was a windfall. That is a really powerful program. Then, retail merchandise. You go to a theme park like Disney, right? You can't walk in the door. You can't walk out the door. You can't walk through the park without coming across 10 different retail centers that you have to walk through to get to any of the attractions. And impulse sales happen all the time. I'm a big believer in building a brand, not running a restaurant. And when you build a brand, you can come up with really cool retail merchandise. As soon as people walk in the door, they see it, catchy, colorful, your logo, what mascot or colors. You can sell t-shirts, trucker hats, hoodies, flasks, and even stickers that people will stick on their cars and kids' notebooks. And these are all reminders of your brand. And you can sell lots of merchandise. I probably sold $30,000 a month in t-shirts alone because we built this powerful brand. But there's a success story that goes way beyond that. There's a restaurant on the island of Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. It's called the Black Dog. It's been around for decades. And they started selling these black Labrador Retriever t-shirts. On the front was a profile of a black lab. And on the back, it simply said the Black Dog and the year you bought the t-shirt. They sold gazillions of these things. Their merchandise program grew and they expanded the hats and all that kind of stuff. But now, besides the online sales that they're doing internationally, they've got retail stores. This is Massachusetts. I live in Portland, Maine, and there's now a Black Dog retail store down in the Old Port, down by the harbor in Portland, Maine. They're opening up these retail stores. This is what you can do when you build a brand and not run a restaurant. That's trackable marketing. We created a photo contest where we encouraged people to buy a t-shirt, a hat, whatever, take an interesting photo somewhere in the world, send it in. It had to be an 8x10 photo that we could frame because I wanted to cover the bar with these things and encourage people to bring their friends in to see their photo. Our suppliers donated great prizes every year for the winners. And we had people doing unbelievable things. Maybe you heard this story. I had a friend who was from another state. He was a loyal guest, and he had a state police trooper from his state that was a good friend of his. He staged an arrest on the side of the highway where he's wearing our t-shirt, our logo t-shirt, big and bold in the picture, and he's being thrown up against the cop car and slapped with the cuffs and the light bars, red, white, and blue, and going off, and that was the winner that year. What was the prize? It was a gas grill and 50 pounds of Black Angus steaks. And that was donated by one of my suppliers that wanted to get involved and be part of the scene. And I had so much support from suppliers because I learned a long time ago, you don't ask, you don't get. If you spend lots of money with your suppliers, you can ask for things and you can get things, but only if you ask. This is powerful. This is what you can do when you build a brand, sell retail merchandise, and encourage people to come in multiple times a week and create that environment that becomes the vibe, the clubhouse. That's called spirit right there. It's hard to touch that. You can't buy that kind of loyalty. My team, we talked about the team earlier. I called them the dream team because they became intrapreneurs. We all know that an entrepreneur, someone like yourself perhaps, that took a big risk to start a business, you put your life on the line, your life savings, and now you're paying all the expenses. You're paying the lease on the property or the mortgage if you own it, and you're paying the cost of goods and the payroll and the long list of expenses. That's your risk. You're the entrepreneur in hopes of making a profit. Hopefully you're making far more than 8% net profit. An intrapreneur is someone that approaches your business like they owned your business. They don't own it, but they want to treat it like they own it. They want to help grow your business. I had lots of entrepreneurs across my business, and they were incentivized to grow the business. I didn't have to be there. They had my back. I could walk in and be a customer in any of my restaurants at any time and watch my guests having amazing times and watching my staff shine and my guests smile. And boy, was that empowering for me. Boy, was that fulfilling. And I went to a reunion a couple of months ago. 20 years ago, my kids, when they were small, went to the local daycare and had something special. I recognized the way he treated the kids, treated the parents, had attention to detail. And that's a pretty stressful business when you got little toddlers running around responsible for them. So I just knew this guy had something special. And I asked him, hey, are you looking for any extra cash? Could you use a part-time job? I'm like, come on in, I'd like to hire you. I made this guy a host in my restaurant 20 years ago. He was a host for all of 5 minutes, and he just rose up to take on additional responsibility. He became the dining room leader. And then he became the general leader of this place. He ran this place for 20 years. I sold this restaurant in 2014. I sold all my restaurants in 2014, other than the one I had during the pandemic. But follow me here. I sold in 2014, and the new owner, the guy owned restaurants, but he didn't have to work there because the systems were in place. It was turnkey. My team were entrepreneurs. They ran the place for him. But my general leader, he had his finger on the pulse of every guest and every team member. He had respect. He had teamwork. He had morale. We created this culture called hospitality, family, and fun, which he carried on. I go to this reunion a couple of months ago. He didn't retire. He's just moving on after 20 years of working in the restaurant business, and we wish him well. I walked in the door, and people I hired almost 28 years ago, 26 years ago, were still working there. The family is still there. I had a 96% retention rate in my restaurants because of the team spirit, the empowerment, the recognition rewards. It was so powerful. I walked in the door and I saw all these people loving working together, honoring this person who had led them for 20 years plus, or even less if they were a newer employee. But that team spirit, you can't touch. That was a 325 seat place, and he had his finger on the pulse of everything. What's the key to this? Empowerment. Don't be afraid to see something special in someone, to empower them. Task, not promote them necessarily, although that would be the goal down the road, but give them a piece of your business to learn your business so that they can help run that business. And trust. It's about building the dream team. It's about empowering them, recognizing talent, but most of all, it's about trusting and being able to walk away. They say you've got a system if you can walk away from your business for a day, a week, a month, and when you come back, it's like you were never there. It's just as strong. It's just as profitable. It's just as successful, if not more so, because you built a dream team and they felt special. They felt recognized and rewarded. They felt empowered. And those people will never leave you because the grass will not be greener on the other side. Everything I knew about running successful restaurants, I took and I created the Restaurant Academy. It includes everything I talked about today. You decide what's most important to you. In my academy, is it the cost controls and maximizing profit? Is it the menu accelerator that puts tons of money to your bottom line that you're losing right now? Is it tracking your cost of goods and putting an inventory system in place? Is it sales stars? Is it training your team in hospitality and salesmanship and creating that front and back of house chemistry and the leadership piece and the accountability? Or is it about the trackable marketing? You decide what's most important, but even more powerful than that, we've designed the Academy so that you can assign any lesson to any number of team members in your business, and you can track their progress, and you can follow along, and you can nurture and develop them. And that is an exit strategy. Whether you want to sell it like I did, or whether you want to start another business, or whether you want to spend more time with your family, the Academy is key to that. So go to restaurantrockstars.com, check it out. It'll tell you what you get, what's there. Every new Academy member gets a free 1-hour call with me. We can talk about your challenges. I'll guide you. Anything about the Academy, anything about what's challenging you or keeping you up at night. I'd love to talk shop with you. I had a tremendous amount of success in this business with multiple restaurants. I went through the pandemic with a restaurant. I made it work. I know what your challenges are, and I can help. So thanks so much for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Restaurant Rockstars podcast. For lots of great resources, head over to restaurantrockstars.com. See you next time.